Welcome to Fantasy Football Talk. I'm your host, Shane Gravlin, alongside my partners.
I'm Caleb Ellison.
And I'm Jared Alley.
Today, we got a lot of fantasy football talk for you. Anything you can imagine, our top picks, our sleeper picks. So let's just dive right in. Caleb, who would you take first overall in this year's fantasy draft?
Well, riding in from the momentum of Super Bowl 52, definitely Carson Wentz. He shows that he can work under the pressure. He may be battling for that starter spot with Nick Foles, but I think Carson Wentz can be a very impactful player heading into the season.
Yeah, he had an MVP season, caliber season last year, and then he obviously got injured. But yeah, I agree. For me, back then it used to be about drafting a quarterback first in the first round now, but now these days you see the overall rankings. Quarterbacks are now in like the 10s, going to the 15s, 20th overalls. I would probably draft a wide receiver running back first, like a Todd Gurley or maybe an Antonio Brown. So a top running back or wide receiver.
I really like that you mentioned Todd Gurley because he doesn't just run the ball. He catches a lot of passes too, and ultimately he scores a lot of touchdowns. So who's a guy that maybe you could get in the 4th or 5th round that you think could
steal?
That could be a really solid addition to your team?
I think that a pick that's going to be a little bit underrated is the Redskins defense. If you look at their defensive line, Ryan Kerrigan, he's consistently in the top 10 when it comes to sacks. I think that's going to be a very key part. The Redskins defense looking for a big bounce back.
Yeah, I'm looking at a guy in Minnesota, Dalvin Cook, who got injured last year, but he had some good numbers, and a lot of people forgot about Dalvin Cook, obviously, because they had some good running backs too. They sold Latavius Murray, and I think he will be a very versatile running back this year with the Vikings.
Of course, with fantasy, there's a lot of talk of what position is most important to your team. And I'll start with you on this one, Jared. And you touched on it earlier that sometimes it's not always quarterback first. Who would you go, running back, receiver? Who do you go with usually?
Well, it's a tough question. They're all important. The three important are quarterbacks, wide receivers, and running backs. For me personally, I won my fantasy league last year due to my running backs. I had really good running backs. Now, last year, I had David Johnson. Last year, I picked him in the first round. He gets injured the first game of the year, of course. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated, another Sports Illustrated jinx. But I got Leonard Fournette, and I had Todd Gurley. And Todd Gurley was a steal. I got him in the 6th round because he had a very disappointing season in his second season.
That's right.
So, in my opinion, I think the running back's most important because they got me a lot of points, and they got me a lot of wins.
When it comes to opportunities and when people are going to play the most, definitely look at your kickers. Obviously, Justin Tucker, he's a big kicker pick. But there's going to be a lot of kickers out there. A good strategy, looking at dome kickers, so Minnesota, Dallas, stuff like there where the wind is consistent. Definitely look at your good kickers.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you both for your great analysis, and that'll conclude things today for Fantasy Football Talk. I'm your host, Shane Gravlin, alongside Caleb and Jared. Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Sock Talk. I'm your host, Wilson Kahn. This is Eli Lesser and David Galis. Today we have 3 hot topics in European soccer. First, we're going to start out with Real Madrid. They've had a bit of a tumultuous summer here. They lost, of course, Ronaldo was the big loss. They just brought in Thibaut Courtois today from Chelsea, so we're going to discuss kind of the ramifications of this transfer window for Real. Why don't we start with you, David?
I think that them bringing in Courtois is really going to help the team out because originally the main problem was that Navas was getting a lot older and he was losing the touch he had originally at goalkeeping. So now bringing that extra ramification of Courtois is really going to help. And also the sale of Ronaldo, it's a really big decrease in power to them, but also I think they can bring in a lot of other players that can help out with the team.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to agree with you there. And one thing that Courtois does have is a link to Eden Hazard,
Yes.
who I would love to see in a Real Madrid uniform. Courtois did say before the transfer window, although it doesn't really play a role in the transfer, he did say he wants to go wherever Hazard goes, but Courtois did go first. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe we could see Eden in a Madrid uniform. I don't really know.
Especially amid rumors of a potential Modric sale to Inter, although the price of 750 million euros seems a little ridiculous for Modric. A sale of Modric would make the Hazard transfer much more likely.
I don't even know if anyone could actually afford a player that's 750 million euro worth.
Okay, so that being said, do you think Real Madrid will win La Liga this year?
I think I think there could be a chance, but I think that Barcelona still has the upper hand in the La Liga. They haven't lost any players. They didn't lose Messi or Suarez or any players, and also just overall the team has been very balanced itself. So, and last year they almost won. They almost had an undefeated season. So it's very easily that they could win La Liga again.
Yeah, they won it last year with Ronaldo still on Madrid. I don't think Barcelona will lose at all this season, but I wouldn't count out Atletico Madrid.
Exactly.
There is
That's
that
what I was
third
gonna
team there. Griezmann is very, very good. They just re-signed him. They brought in Lamar,
Yes.
and I'm very excited about that transfer. So I wouldn't count out Atletico, and they could slide in ahead of Real Madrid this year.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. All right, so we talked a little bit about the Ronaldo transfer. That was obviously the big move this offseason. Juventus, they've won Serie A 7 consecutive years. Will there be an 8th championship for Juventus this year, Eli?
I personally think so. Ronaldo is Ronaldo. You can't get away from that fact. He is arguably the best soccer player in the world, one of the greatest of all time, and he's won pretty much everywhere he's been. The only trophy he's really missing is that World Cup, which we won't see him, but I do think he'll get that Serie A title.
I think so. I think just Juve is gonna dominate again. They've dominated a lot, but I think that we can also watch a lot of the other Serie A teams really fighting a lot more because before that it was mostly really boring because Juve would destroy everyone. But now there's teams like Milan and Napoli, especially with Milan. They have Mauro Icardi, who's really stepped up. He's really stepped up his game recently. So I think that Milan is going to have a really good season as well next year.
And last year, Napoli, I mean, they were in first until 34th match week maybe, so Juventus just crept up on them right at the end. As for Napoli, loss of Sarri, of course, the manager, and Jorginho also kind of lost to Chelsea there. It'll be interesting to see how they rebound from that. But moving on to Champions League here. The group stage, not drawn yet, still a lot of preliminary rounds to be completed. We're going to go around here and say one team to watch this year in the Champions League. Why don't you go first, Eli?
I'm going to go with Paris Saint-Germain, the French Giants. Their biggest weakness heading into the season was probably at goalkeeper, and they brought in the legend Gigi Buffon. You can't count him out even at his old age. And they have one of the greatest attacks I've seen, very young still, with Mbappe, who's just coming off a World Cup. I'm excited to see what they'll do in the Champions League.
I'm just going to keep it short and simple. I think just as well Juventus is going to win the Champions League. They brought in Ronaldo. That was the main problem they had. They really needed another superstar on the team. They got rid of Higuain, who had a lot of misses last year, which means Dybala has a better role at striker. And they also brought back Bonucci from Milan. So their defense is completely straight again. The only problem I would have is Szczesny at goalie, but otherwise I think the whole team has been really good.
All right, that's all the time we have today. Thank you so much for listening. For Eli Lesser and David Galis, I'm Wilson Kahn.
Jake Circus.
Joey Elbaum.
Owen Noland.
Welcome to SBC LA, the football edition. I am here joined by Owen Noland and Joey Elbaum, and we have a lot of topics to talk about today. We're going to start with the NFL MVP. It was Tom Brady last year. Who do you guys have it taking home? I'm going to start with Owen.
I think Aaron Rodgers is a guy who can take it home every year. Obviously, he was hurt last year. I think he's going to come back, have a great season. It's amazing what a couple months off of football can do to your body. You come back healthier, I hope, than ever. And I think he is as dangerous as ever to, or as big of a threat as ever to win an MVP this year. I think he'll come back and lead the Packers and have a lot of success this year.
As Stephen A. Smith said, he's a bad, bad man. Joey?
I see where you're coming from, but I'm ready for another position player to win MVP. We had Tom Brady last year, Matt Ryan the year before that. I'm ready to see someone like Antonio Brown, Julio Jones, Odell Beckham Jr., someone like Todd Gurley to step up and take it. You really look at your quarterbacks as the leader of the team, and we see that, but I'm ready for a player that leads the team in scoring, a player that leads the team in yards to come away with this title this year. I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah, if it was Antonio Brown has improved by at least 200-300 yards for the last 3 seasons he's on. If he were to improve by that much again, he would have one of the best seasons I've ever seen by a wide receiver. He's still in his prime. Easily the best receiver in the league. I actually think it will be Aaron Rodgers. As Owen said, you really don't know what months off of football can do to your body. positively and negatively. I'm leaning more towards the positive side of things. Aaron Rodgers is going to come back and he's going to be the best quarterback in football. So we're going to shift over to the Super Bowl. I'm going to start with Joey this time. Who do you have winning the Super Bowl?
You always have the Patriots. They're gonna be in there, but I'd like to see someone besides the Eagles. Maybe I see the Vikings making it this year. It'll be competitive, but I think the Patriots will come away again. That's where Tom Brady will finish his career.
Van?
I'm going to say a pick that might shock some people, the Jacksonville Jaguars. A great defense, a great run game. Leonard Fournette will take a step forward in his second year. They've got great cornerbacks. Jalen Ramsey leading the way in the secondary in Jacksonville. Blake Bortles isn't a Tom Brady or an Aaron Rodgers. He's a game manager, I think, but he'll do enough for the Jaguars. People forget how close they came to beating the Patriots in the AFC Championship last year. I think if they get another opportunity, they can finish the deal this year and make it to the Super Bowl, and not only make it there, but win the Super Bowl this year.
Before I give my prediction, I actually have one thing on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Last year, Andrew Luck was out, which means Blake Bortles was not the worst quarterback in that division, and it's very hard to pick a team to win when their quarterback is easily the worst quarterback in their division. With Deshaun Watson now back healthy and Andrew Luck back healthy, it's very hard to pick the Jacksonville Jaguars because that's 2 more games on their schedule where Blake Bortles is overmatched. Last year he faced Jacoby Brissett, which were 2 easy wins. I believe the Jaguars beat the Colts both times. So it's very hard to pick the Jaguars. I actually think it's going to be the Atlanta Falcons. They never get worse. They had a little step back last year, but and a heartbreaking loss against the Eagles in that last-second fashion. Julio Jones is back still in his prime. Matt Ryan is still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Devontae Freeman is a year older, which is good. He's about 27, I believe now. Defense has gotten a lot better. Vic Beasley is going to step up. I really think that the Atlanta Falcons are going to take it home. Do you guys have anything else to say?
Yeah, I feel as Julio Jones continues to be as good and better than he has been, along with working with Matt Ryan, who is consistent and consistently good, I have faith in the Falcons that they'll finally get their title they've been looking for.
I would say, going back to your point about Andrew Luck returning, he's been out of football for over a year. You don't know how that's going to affect him. It was a shoulder injury, so how is he going to be able to throw the ball? Will his accuracy be there? Will his throw power be there? And you also don't know. I still have some question marks about that Colts defense. And in Houston, we only saw Deshaun Watson play 5 or 6 games. Granted, it was a great 5 or 6 game stretch that he had in Houston. But I still think that the Jaguars defense is the best defense in that division, if not all of football, and I think that will carry them like it did last year to the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be another question of the day, whether we would take a 80% Andrew Luck over a 100% Blake Bortles, yeah. But that's a question for another day. We're going to wrap it up here at SBC LA, the football edition. I'm Jake Circus alongside Owen Nolan and Joey Elbaum. Good night.
Wyatt Effner.
Andrew Diaz.
Van Noland.
Welcome to Football Talk at KCLA. I'm Wyatt, and I am joined by Andrew and Van. Tonight we're going to be discussing which teams are going to win their divisions in the NFL. Van, would you like to start?
Yes, let's start in the AFC West, where I have the San Diego Chargers winning the AFC West. I like Phillip Rivers. I'm a little bit worried about the rest of the division. I think there's a lot of mediocrity in the AFC West. I don't see a true contender out of this division. However, I see that the Chargers and their experienced quarterback, Phillip Rivers, can lead them to the division title.
AFC West, I have to agree. The Chargers, there's no contention in that division. As you saw, the Chiefs, they lost Alex Smith. The Broncos, they don't have any running game whatsoever. The Raiders, who's there? No one's around. And Phillip Rivers has, as long as Melvin Gordon can have that running, is able to step up the running game, I believe the Chargers will win the division as well.
I agree with both of you guys in the fact that the Chargers will probably win the division. However, the Chiefs might turn some heads, and they might make a contention for the playoffs. If they can win the division, they'll at least get a wild card, but I think you're right. I think the Chargers are going to win the division. Mm-hmm. Any other divisions?
Now on to the NFC West,
Okay.
I think that well, I'm going to start at the bottom. I think the 49ers aren't too good. I think the Seahawks are mediocre. I think the Cardinals could make a run with Sam Bradford. They have a few pieces there, but I think the true team to beat in this division is the Los Angeles Rams. I think they have a really good shot at a Super Bowl title this year. I think they're definitely one of the better teams in contention. The defense always strong for the LA Rams. And don't forget to mention the offense. Todd Gurley, one of the best running backs in all of the NFL, I think can lead them very far.
I agree. The Rams just have too many pieces and a great coach, and everything's just really lining up for them.
I agree. The Rams will win the NFC West. There's really no contention. As you said, the Seahawks are falling mediocre. Like, Russell Wilson has disappeared out of nowhere. The 49ers, they might be a wild card, but I don't see Jimmy Garoppolo leading them there. The Cardinals, David Johnson cannot stay healthy. I don't see this team making a run. And this Rams team, it's just too good. They have one of the best running backs in the NFL, and that's Todd Gurley. And Jared Goff leading them. So I think the Rams win the division.
Now to the AFC South. This is going to be one of the tougher divisions this year.
Yes, I agree.
Jacksonville and Houston are my two contenders, but if I had to choose one of the two, I'm going to have to go with Jacksonville. That defense is just too stout, and we saw Blake Bortles, as the year went on, improve very much. So I think Houston might get in as a wild card, but I have to go with Jacksonville.
I am going to disagree with you. I'm going to take the Houston Texans to win that division, and for one reason, and that's because of Deshaun Watson. Last year when Deshaun Watson was on the field, the Houston Texans' level of play rose significantly, and I think he is the quarterback that the Texans have needed for a while. I think they have other pieces there that can get it done, and I think playing inside the division a lot, I think they can defeat the other teams and win.
I think it will be the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, this team just went on an amazing run last year, upsetting the Pittsburgh Steelers at Heinz Field and almost upsetting the New England Patriots because of their defense and Blake Bortles having a great game. And Leonard Fournette wasn't really. I think he's going to be a big step to this team this next year, and I think Jacksonville will win the division.
All right. Well, I think that's all the time we have left. Thank you all for watching. I've been Wyatt Effner.
I'm Van Noland.
And I'm Andrew Diaz.
And we'll see you next time.
Max Stenberg.
Chris Linney.
Ari Friedman.
Welcome to Pro Football Talk, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about the best topics as preseason starts this Thursday. Today I'm being joined by Chris, Ari, and I am Max. Today we're going to kick things off talking about the preseason. So are there certain teams or players you expect to see in the preseason? Is there certain competitions across football you guys are interested in seeing? Chris, we'll start with you.
Baker Mayfield. I wonder what he's going to do with Cleveland. Cleveland has been one of the most sorry organizations over the past few years. Sorry to Cleveland Browns fans, but your team is not going to win more than 3 games this year. But you guys are going to go undefeated in the preseason again. That's for sure.
Ari?
I'd like to see what the Eagles do. You know, Super Bowl champions. Well, let's see how if they're overconfident or not, if they respect the other teams, if they just are either so full of themselves. How Carson Wentz does. He hasn't played in probably about at least like 8 months. So I'm excited to see how he does. If he performs well, keeps it up, and if they do, you know, they're really scary. They could win another Super Bowl this year, I think.
Yeah, I think during the preseason, I think I'm also really interested to see 2 different quarterbacks in the AFC South. I want to see how recovery time works for Deshaun Watson and Andrew Luck. I think if Deshaun Watson and Andrew Luck are healthy, they're arguably top 10, even top 5 quality quarterbacks in football. And Watson had torn ACL and Luck didn't play a snap last year. So I'm kind of wondering how they do. I heard Luck's going to play in the preseason. So it'll be interesting to see if he can get a drive-in for each game and see how he works. Are there any teams you think are going to be sleepers this year? You first, Chris.
Sleepers.
There's a lot of them.
There are going to be a lot of good sleepers. Like, in my opinion, I think that the Kansas City Chiefs, Tennessee Titans, San Francisco 49ers and Atlanta Falcons are going to be really good sleepers this year. They can make noise in the playoffs this year, and I think that might be what they're going to do.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, have any sleepers you got?
Like the Chargers.
Like
they
the Chargers.
surprised everyone last year by
Yeah.
A, having a record over 500, and B, having the same record as some teams that did make the postseason, but they unfortunately didn't because of,
AFC.
point differential.
Yeah.
And other teams, I agree with you, Jacksonville and Tennessee, both sleepers. I'm not sure how Houston will do. The Texans, they got J.J. Watt back, so that will be interesting to see how they do, but they did lose Tom Savage, so I'm not sure who's going to replace him, though. But I'll keep my eye on them. Anything could happen with them. Also, the 49ers, they can make some noise, too. And also the Giants. They finally got OBJ back. He'll be ready. Eli will be ready. Watch out for those teams.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on the Chargers part. But for the Chargers, every year we always talk about how they could be sleepers, and then they go 0-4 to start the year. Kicking problems cost them games, and then they depend on late second half seasons to even start playing football. I think they need good starts to the season. Kansas City, I don't really see being a part of the mix because I don't trust Mahomes yet. I wasn't a big fan of him coming out of the draft because I think the only thing he has is a big arm, and I think he's going to have to run the ball a lot to create it. I think Kareem Hunt has another big year, possibly. Do you have? And I think the New Orleans Saints got to be in there. I think the Saints are going to be in the NFC Championship game this year, just because Alvin Kamara is my favorite player to watch. And I think Alvin is so good in every way. He started to do kickoffs last year. If he's doing kickoffs and running and catching like that, he's got to be one of the best players in football. What do you guys think? Who's going to be in the AFC and AFC Championship games, and who's going to be in the Super Bowl? What do you think, Chris?
This is going to be amazing. This AFC and NFC Championship games, I want to go to them. But personally, I think AFC is going to be the Patriots against the Steelers. I think both teams are going to make a lot of noise this year. They're going to be really good teams. And NFC Championship, Rams-Eagles. Because both those teams are just going to be so good, and it's just going to be so much fun to watch the NFL playoffs this year.
All right, your quick decisions here.
All right, so NFC, I say probably Saints and Eagles. I didn't mention the Saints because I thought, they're a really good team. I don't even consider them a sleeper. I see them as a serious contender.
Yeah.
Eagles, of course, I think they'll be there too. There's not going to be any serious postseason hangovers. AFC, I'm going to have to go agree with you, Patriots and Steelers. I think this year it's going to be, honestly, I see the Saints making it, and I don't see the Steelers making it this year. They're going to come very close, but I think it's going to be Patriots and Saints. As for who wins, not entirely sure. We're going to have to see, in my opinion.
Well, we know there's lots more to talk about, but we have run out of time today. For Chris, Ari, and Max, football's back here on Pro Football Talk.
Hi, welcome to NFL Network. I'm Charlie Brady.
I'm Caleb Weiss.
Ethan Klein.
And I'm Sage Crawford. And today we're going to be talking about who is going to win the Super Bowl. Sage, start us off.
Well, I have to go with the Los Angeles Rams here. They were the best offense last season. They got superstars in this offseason. Brandon Cooks added at wide receiver. They got Ndamukong Suh along with Aaron Donald staying. They've got Todd Gurley, reigning Offensive Player of the Year. And then they got Marcus Peters and Aqib Talib. Their defense looks insane this year, and their offense is just getting better.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think the Rams are going to make a pretty nice run next year, and they hopefully will make the playoffs. But I think the Raiders are going to be, not the Raiders. The Niners are going to be a team to beat. The Niners have Jimmy Garoppolo, who they got last year from the Patriots. Jimmy Garoppolo was a backup behind Tom Brady, and he went 5-0 with the Niners last year. I think they have a lot of momentum with Jerick McKinnon, who's going to be the running back of the year likely and improve a lot.
I'm going to disagree with both of you here. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Won the Super Bowl last year, has a crazy solid defense, crazy solid offense. They've proven that they could beat any team in the entire NFL, and they're being led by arguably the best quarterback in the entire league.
All right. I see all of you picked really good teams, except for maybe Ethan. But I think, what about my boys, the Jaguars? They've got an amazing defense, and you know what they say, defense wins championships. Blake Bortles and Leonard Fournette are probably going to develop really well, and the offense is going to be much better. But this defense is really going to cause trouble for the AFC, and they're probably going to win the division and go all the way. All right, do any of you have anything to say about that?
I don't see the Jaguars going. Blake Bortles is one of the worst QBs in this league. He hasn't improved. The Jaguars are just a mess. Their defense is very scary. I agree with that. But the offense just looks like it's not coming together. They lost Allen Robinson. I don't see it.
I mean, I think I'm going to agree with Sage here. I really don't see the Jaguars winning. If they can't, defense, sure, they're not going to. They might not let anybody else score. But if they can't score either, then what's going to happen to the game?
Well, we saw the Ravens a while ago go. They shut out lots of people. I think they scored about 9-10 points per game, like the other teams. But I think this Jaguars defense is the best defense since those Ravens guys back then. I think Jalen Ramsey is a very good cornerback. They've got great defensive line. And even if they can't really score, they will score some. Leonard Fournette is a great running back. Blake Bortles, even though you guys think he's not that good, he will develop. He's still young. And Ethan, do you have anything to say about the 49ers?
I don't have too much to say about the Niners, but I do have a question for you guys. What do you guys think about the Patriots? No one said anything about the Patriots. Where will they go this year? Are they going to make another run? Is Tom Brady going to be the same Tom Brady we've seen?
The Patriots dynasty is over. Everything is falling apart. Gronk is retiring soon. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, their relationship isn't the same as it was. Everyone's just getting older and people are leaving. Malcolm Butler to the Titans. You lost Danny Amendola to the Dolphins. Everything is just going downhill for the Patriots.
I think I can agree here. I mean, I think the Patriots are probably one of the best dynasties of the entire history of football. But I really think that it's their time to go.
I'm gonna have to disagree though. You can't go against Tom Brady. I feel like everyone's gone against Tom Brady, and Tom Brady keeps making these teams that are gonna go to a Super Bowl and either win or get very close to winning. What about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady's still got a couple more years of good playoff runs left in him. But regardless of anything that happens, I think this season is going to be amazing. Signing off for now, NFL Network, I'm Charlie Brady.
I'm Caleb Weiss.
Ethan Klein.
And I'm Sage Crawford.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nicholas Baer, along with my partners,
Ryan Struxma,
Diliano Dayton. And we are here live at UCLA for a rant. And so for our first topic of the day, we are going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh boy.
And the question is, will they make the playoffs? Let's start with you.
First of all, Tony Romo. Still, even though he's a broadcaster, he's great. But let's skip past that. I think the Dallas Cowboys are definitely going to make the playoffs next year. With that offensive line, which is just so powerful and strong and big, and, Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott, who likes to jump into giant things. I've just noticed that. Likes to jump into, giant charity things. But still, it's great. I think they're going to make it with that offensive power, at least better than 8-8 last year, maybe to a 9-7 or a 10-6, maybe to make the playoffs at least, a low seed. I think they're going to get pretty far.
What about you?
I'm going to have to disagree with that.
Oh, no.
I don't think the Dallas Cowboys are going to even come close to the playoffs. They're going to go at most 500. With Des Bryant gone and Dak Prescott, he was very disappointing last year. Zeke Elliott will be back. He'll be pretty good in my opinion. They have that strong offensive line. That's their best. Okay, but they're in a really tough division. Alex Smith now starting for the Washington Redskins. Odell Beckham coming back for the Giants. Eli Manning, you never know with him. You never know with Eli Manning. His stats don't look very well, but he has 2 Super Bowl rings. Don't forget that. And you also have the famous Super Bowl champions, Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to be very tough for the Dallas Cowboys to even get second in their division, because I think the Eagles have that whole division wrapped up. Dallas Cowboys have no chance at making the playoffs. They'll go 7-9.
Okay. First of all, the Eagles, yeah, sure, I get that. But Eli Manning, Come on now. He may have the 2 rings, but this guy, this look like this. He'll try a play action pass and somehow fumble it on like the 2-yard line. Eli Manning he's not gonna do it. He's not scary. And talking about Alex Smith, what's he gonna do? Blow a 4th down, 20-point lead? Come on. Let's be real about this. Dak Prescott, don't be hating on my man Dak Prescott. I love Dak Prescott. He can run, he can pass. He's like Deshaun Watson except without the ACL tear. But Dak Prescott is going to take them very far as a leader, as an individual, as a pocket passer, and as a runner. He's like RG3 if RG3 actually had a right arm. So let's just talk about this. I mean, they're gonna go far. They're gonna get to 10-6. They're gonna make the playoffs, and I think they're gonna get to the second round, or maybe even to the championship. I mean, we could just see it.
You think the Dallas Cowboys are gonna go to the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles in their division? You think the Dallas Cowboys? You think the Dallas Cowboys are gonna go from the 5th or the 6th seed all the way to the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. I'm not talking about the Mexican
you think
Bowl.
they're
I'm
gonna
talking
get
about the
past
Super Bowl.
all these NFC tough teams like the LA Rams? You never know about the 49ers with Jimmy G. He's
Okay.
7-0. He'll stop Dak Prescott in a heartbeat.
Jimmy G?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me
I
ask
think
you
he's
guys
better.
another question about the Cowboys. What do you guys think about their wide receiver core?
Des Bryant?
No, they don't have
Des Bryant is gone.
Yes.
What do you think about it with Tavon Austin being the lead receiver?
I think the Browns are better.
Do you think that is
I think the Browns are better.
Do you think that is a championship worthy wide receiver
Not
core?
even close.
Wide-
Tavon Austin.
wide
leading their
receivers-
team. Tavon Austin's made for punt returning and kick returning.
Wow, okay, wait. Okay, wide receivers do not make championships. This is not a wide receiver game. This is like saying Antonio Brown doesn't take the Steelers to the championships. It's
He's
Ben
a big
Roethlisberger
part
who
of it.
takes the Steelers
Antonio
to the
Brown's
championship.
a huge part of that, though.
Right, but Tavon Austin isn't a terrible wide receiver. They have a wide receiver core that is young, strong, and efficient. I feel like they're going to take it to the hole, to the rack, whatever you want to call it. I feel like this Super Bowl is going to be incredible. I feel like it's going to be the Dallas Cowboys. Maybe even the Rams are going to make it in there, but they're a little young, they're a little funny. But I just feel like they can do this. They have the power.
think so.
I believe in them.
I don't. I don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys.
If the Dallas Cowboys make it to the playoffs, who's going to lead them to the playoffs? Who will that X factor be?
Nobody, because they're not gonna.
Wow. Okay. All right. For a second.
They're not even gonna come
Okay.
close.
All right. Dak Prescott is going to lead them to it, and that's what I'm saying. That's final. That's it. That's done. We're good. Dak Prescott.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Nicholas Bear, along with my partner.
Ryan Struxma.
And
Ryan Seacrest.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Hey guys, it's me. I'm the son of Boomer. It's good to see all of y'all. Hey, it's good to see you guys. Hey guys, how you doing? This is a new crew that we got together. Hey, what's your name, buddy?
Chris Jose Nixon.
You?
Jackson Woodine.
Trying to say Chris. So good to see you guys. Sorry, man, it's been a while. I've been with Key and Chris, and it's been a while. But guys, for this topic, we got me honest for a second. I mean, which rookies are really like looking as like the best rookies this year? We'll start with you, Chris.
All right, my opinion. I think Saquon Barkley is going to come in. He's on the Giants. The Giants can't get all that much worse from last year, 3-13. I know the Browns didn't win a single game, but that's a different story. The Giants they had a really bad season last year, and Saquon, he's going to come in. He's a playmaker. He's going to be their focal point of the offense alongside Odell Beckham Jr., and I think he's going to get a lot of touches, and that's going to include running the ball on all sorts of different sorts of types of plays, and I think he's also going to get a lot of opportunities to catch the ball out of the backfield, screen passes, and things like that. So I think he's going to be an immediate difference maker, and he and Odell Beckham are going to have a great season alongside each other as a sort of different version of Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell. Maybe not quite on that level, but...
And I mean, obviously, we never know with a guy like Eli Manning, but as we know, guys, I mean, the evolution of talent can sometimes change a guy. What do you think, Jeff? What do you think?
I'm going to have to go with Josh Rosen for the Rookie of the Year candidate, just because if you look at the players around him, you have Larry Fitzgerald, you could pretty much lob anything you want up to him, and you'll have a pretty good chance of coming down with it. Also, to balance it out, you have David Johnson, who you could really use in the play action because teams are shaking in their boots when he's in the backfield. And also, you could just lob him a pass behind the line of scrimmage, and boom, 63 yards, maybe even a touchdown. And I know he may not get to start right outside the season because of Sam Bradford, but that man's knees are made of glass. So it's pretty much guaranteed to get a couple of games in action, and I think he'll actually step into the role nicely and get some W's from.
And even if his knees aren't made of glass, he's probably made a couple of errors, throw some interceptions. You know what I'm saying? This guy. Now, what did you think, John?
I got Sam Darnold. You know, he had a great career at USC, dominated the league. I think he'll be a great rookie of the year, maybe even just a season MVP kind of thing. But playing for the Jets, it'll be great.
And, guys, listen. I mean, obviously, I'm more the host. I don't really do too many opinions. Love all the opinions. Obviously, Sam Darnold, huge and big market like New York. Obviously, as you said, about Rosen out of UCLA. And obviously, as you said, Chris, with Saquon. But I got different from all you guys. I got to go with Lamar Jackson. I mean, I haven't seen anything like this guy since Michael Vick. This guy's pretty good. He's pretty good. And, when you combine that kind of speed with that kind of intelligence, with that kind of football IQ, especially backup in a guy like Joe Flacco, who, he gets injured. He's injury prone. And as you guys know, I mean, he's a series of issues. And I'm just being honest with you guys. I haven't seen anything like this since Lamar Jackson. But honestly, guys, let's slightly change topics. All right. Let's be honest. Who do you guys think out of the teams that we just named is going to have the best chance to go in the playoffs?
The two we just mentioned, the best chance of going to the playoffs? Alright, so we got
Giants, Cardinals.
Yeah. Wow, okay. I don't think any of those teams are making the playoffs. Look at the divisions they're in. NFC East has got the Eagles. The Eagles are going to run that division. No one else is going to give them a shot. I guess the Giants could try and sneak in as a wild card, but I don't know. That's going to be tough. Obviously, the NFC West has a great team in the Rams that are probably going to.
Obviously, can't forget about Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, well, the rest of his team is not so good, though. And then you got the Niners, who might be good. We don't know about them. And then you go over to the Jets. The Patriots are in that division.
That's a good point.
Awesome to win. So we've got a lot of teams that are going to have to fight for a playoff spot. But I guess from all of those teams, I would say that I give the Giants the best chance to sneak in and get a wild card spot, just because I think that with the talent that they do have, if they're able to stay healthy, they have a lot of talent, and they've spent a lot of money on that defense, if you remember last year. And so I think that if they stay healthy, they're going to have the best chance to sneak in.
Couldn't agree more, Chris. For all you guys, man, for Chandra, for Chris, and for Jackson, I'm Noah Wheeler. We're saying goodnight.
Hi, I'm Anthony Remedios, and this is
Garrett Sunderland.
And we're here today to give you a football preview for the upcoming season. First off, which team or teams do you think will win the Super Bowl, and or which teams could be a contender?
I think there are many contenders, such as Green Bay, New England, the Rams, Falcons, and so Eagles, obviously, and so on. But if I had to pick one team, I'm going out on a limb here, but I think it'll be the Los Angeles Rams. They got a lot of acquisitions during free agency trades. They got Marcus Peters. They just signed Brandon Cooks, who they got acquired in a trade from New England to a 5-year deal. He's very fast. He can get a lot of deep threats for Jared Goff. Also, they just locked up their running back, all-pro running back, Todd Gurley. He's a top 3-2 running back in the league. So they have a great quarterback, Jared Goff, a great running back. They have a great defense. They have the best defender in the league in Aaron Donald. And I just think they're going to make a big splash during the postseason. What do you think?
I think, of course, we'll have I'm sure the Patriots will probably be back. They've been in it for a long time. It's just sort of become part of New England football, I think. Definitely, I could see Philly's probably going to go back. Some other teams I could see as contenders, Green Bay, even the Rams. And even I think the 49ers can bounce back. They've undergone some new, couple changes in leadership over the last couple years. And as we saw, especially in the second half of last season, they made some very significant changes that have changed the dynamic of their team. So it'll be interesting to see how things play out for me. Who do you think will be the MVP for this year?
There are a lot of good candidates, such as Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. Maybe Matt Ryan can come and win it. They have Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Le'Veon Bell. But if I had to pick one, I'm going to go with Tom Brady. I mean, he has a great system, a great coach,
And I mean, he's the GOAT for a reason. He's won 5 Super Bowls. He's won an MVP at 40 years old, and I don't think he's slowing down anytime soon. He's a great quarterback. He has the highest IQ of any quarterback I've ever seen, and I just think he'll get it done this year.
Well, I think Tom Brady is not a left field choice. I think Aaron Rodgers will be a great contender for that award, and that's who I'm going to make my pick for. Even though he was injured for most of last season, if he comes back strong, I do think he could. I think he can really have a great season, and like I said, Green Bay can be a contender for the Super Bowl.
Another note, there are a lot of teams that haven't made the playoffs last year that are making big splashes in the offseason. What team do you think will be the biggest surprise and make a deep playoff run that didn't make the playoffs last year for the NFL?
I think, like I said before, I think the 49ers will be will have a great opportunity. It's not really so much a surprise because they made some changes even during last year in the off season, but I do think they'll have a chance, and they will definitely be towards the top of contention this year.
There are a lot of great teams, such as the 49ers didn't make it last year, just many teams. But if I had to pick one, I think it'd be Green Bay. I mean, they're getting back Aaron Rodgers, who's, if not the best quarterback, one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the league. And the most important position by far in football is the quarterback. You need a quarterback in order to make any run at the playoffs. Like, mostly every Super Bowl team that's won has always had a great quarterback. So they're getting back Aaron Rodgers. I know they lost Jordy Nelson, but the acquisition of Jimmy Graham I think will be great for Aaron Rodgers, and I think they'll at least make the playoffs. If not, have a great chance of going all the way.
Great. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, so we have to wrap it up. But thank you for watching, and good luck to all your respective teams in the season. Have a great day. This was Anthony Remedios.
Garrett Sunderland.
And we will see you next time.